in Lección 3, and we're going to take a look at the first half of grammar for this lesson. Adjectives are words that describe people, places, and things. Same thing in English as in Spanish. In Spanish, descriptive adverbs are used with the verb ser. Descriptive meaning that your hair is typically the color that it is for a pretty span of time. So it's almost kind of like that idea of permanence versus temporary. Like your height is a stable thing. That's why we tend to use the verb ser with these things. If I look at form and agreement of an adjective, it's very important that it matches the gender and the singular or pluralness of the sentence. So in English, I have different forms of adjectives that don't necessarily have to agree with gender or with the number of things. So nice can be used to refer to one person or many people. However, in Spanish, it has to agree in both gender and number with what's being modified. So Juan is masculine and singular, so we have simpático. Elena is feminine and singular, so we have simpática. Ellos would again be a masculine form, but plural, so we have simpáticos. So this is going to kind of follow a pattern for us. Adjectives that end in O have 4 different forms. The feminine singular is formed by going from O to A, and then I have the plural, which would be adding the S to the O or adding the AS. So el muchacho alto, los muchachos altos, la muchacha alta, las muchachas altas. So you see the 4 different forms of the adjective alto for tall. Adjectives that end in an E or some other consonant have the same masculine and feminine forms. It's nice when these come up. So inteligente is one, it ends in an E, so there is not a masculine and a feminine form that are different. It's just looking at singular versus plural. So those are always really nice. And for context, if we want to know the gender of who we're talking about, we can refer back to the el chico or los chicos. So chico is masculine, so I know it's a masculine group. The same thing happens with difícil. There is no masculine or feminine because it's ending in a consonant and it's not an O. So adjectives that end in OR are a variable in both number and gender. So to take an OR like trabajador, I would add an A to the end of it for the feminine form. But for the masculine form, I add ES, and for the feminine form, it would be the AS at the end after the OR. So here's the list to kind of help you out with masculine plural form that refer to groups that include males and females. Remember, if a group has one male, it becomes a masculine group. So this is just kind of a look at some of those endings for those verbs that have the different gender speak. Unlike in English, Spanish adjectives of nationality are not capitalized. So this is somewhere to be very careful in Portales as you work through your activities. We do not capitalize nationality in Spanish. Proper names of a country, however, are capitalized. So if I'm talking about France, I would capitalize. If I'm talking about French, I would not capitalize. So that's a key difference there in how we operate nationalities. Adjectives for nationality are formed like other descriptive adjectives. If it ends in O, I would change it to an A to be feminine. So you would have Chino, China, Mexicano, Mexicana. So it's going to be the similar conjugation changes that happen when you go from an O to an A in other adjectives. Adjectives that have a nationality that end in E only have singular and plural forms. So if I say Canadiense, then I don't know if it's masculine or feminine. I have to look for context in the sentence. So it makes it a little bit easier to construct those sentences. To form the feminine of adjectives of a nationality that end in a consonant, so a consonant that is not going to be an E or an OR, then I would add an A to the end of it. So alemán becomes alemana, and notice the accent goes away. Japones goes into japonesa. So the accent goes away again there, just like we saw before the pattern. Descriptive adjectives and adjectives of nationality generally come after the noun that they're modifying. So el niño rubio, the blonde boy. In English, we're putting blonde before boy, but in Spanish, we tend to put the adjective after what is being modified. And that's a slightly difference in sentence construction between the two languages. Unlike a descriptive adjective, an adjective of quantity comes before the modified noun. So this is where you have to start strategizing. If it's a descriptive adjective that's describing something, it's after. If I'm talking about how many, it's before. So hay muchos libros en la biblioteca. Muchos is an indication of how many. So it's going to precede libros, which modifies the books. Descriptive adjectives like bueno, buena, malo, mala, where we're describing how we feel, can appear before or after a noun. When placed before a masculine singular noun, the form is kind of truncated into buen instead of bueno or mal instead of malo. So if I said Joaquin es un buen amigo, because it's coming before the word it's modifying, I'm truncating it to buen. But if I put it afterwards, look at the second sentence, es un amigo bueno. So it has to do with placement. So as you're working through the grammar in Portales, look at placement of where it's placing that adjective at. When grande appears before a singular noun, we would shorten and truncate it to gran. So we're not necessarily going to have grande appear if I'm shortening it. The meaning of the word also changes. So gran would be great, and grande would be big or large. So if I wanted to refer to a person, Don Francisco es un gran hombre, he's a great man. La familia de Inés es grande would be the Inés family is large. So this is a case where context and identifying the form of the verb are extremely important.